Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a request slash challenge from a subscriber who asked me if I had ever done a junk journal using only Dollar Tree items. So I'm hoping I'm able to do that today with all the materials coming from there. I'm going to have to make some of my own stuff, but only with Dollar Tree materials, okay? So the first issue for me is the cover. I usually use magazine cardboard or book cover stock to make a cover. Dollar Tree doesn't sell that. You can make your own if you want to use foam board. If you want to use the poster board, you can cut it to size and then double or triple them and use that. But I don't want to go into that. I wanted to make it as simple as possible. So you buy a book. So I grabbed one of these books for $1.25, something that, you know, I'm not interested in. And we're going to take the insides out and use the cover. Now, for the 8.5 by 11, as you can see, let me see if I can get the whole book in there. There you go. As you can see, it's huge. Look at all that we have left over. But the only, considering we're going to sponge it up when we put stuff in it, why not? It's either that or start cutting paper to size to the smaller size, and frankly, paper is really expensive. Even when you buy it at Dollar Tree, when you calculate it out, paper is expensive. And just cutting it will go to waste, and I just don't feel comfortable doing that, even though this bothers me like you have no tomorrow. Like you don't know. But anyway, we're going to be using this big one unless I think of something else, and I'll let you know if I find a small, the perfect. So let's talk paper. Or let's leave the paper for last. You're going to need binding thread, which obviously they don't sell at Dollar Tree, but they sell this Baker's Twine, I guess. It's in the craft section. It comes 3 of these little guys in different colors. And it's just perfect thickness enough for the binding. Here I'm going to use, usually I use a plastic canvas needle, but if you buy the multi-pack of needles at Dollar Tree, they will have some upholstery needles, you know, those big curved ones and the thicker ones and the longer. Okay, well, this is one of those. The important thing is it has an eye that is wide enough to get the twine through. That's the biggie. Okay, that's going to be much later. You need a craft knife, a ruler, any size that you want to use. You're going to need glue. Now this is not a Dollar Tree purchase. I use Fabri-Tac when working with paper because it doesn't crumble the paper. However, you can very easily use tacky glue is fine. You can use tacky glue and that'll be fine as well. Okay, and they just have it, their bottle is gold, I think, gold color, but it's the same thing, it's tacky glue. All right, and I'll see if I find one of those, because I think I do have one of those that they sell. Paper. So I want to do this in a shabby chic style. This is the only pastel paper that I found at Dollar Tree. Let's get it out of here. And as you can see, the colors of this paper, you have a light, like a peach. You have like a lime color, and I don't know if the color is distinguishing on the camera. This is like a light lime green, not neon, but a darker orange, yellow, and a light green. Okay? And the paper sounds terrible, but that'll go away. I need to leave it out of the bag. All right, so I have these colors that are pastel that I got there, but I want to put some blue, some pink, some lavender, some something different, right? So I grabbed a pack of the copy paper. It's 75 sheets, white by Jot. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to dye the paper. Now, how are we going to do this? Well, what we're going to do is you can use I don't know why I keep saying vegetable coloring. It's maybe because at some point it was vegetable color. I don't know. But it's food coloring, all right? And this is how it looks. It comes in a few different colors. This is the red one that I ended up not using. But I am going to use, I didn't find or have already a green one. So I'm going to mix these two to get green. But I have a blue and a yellow of the food color. And I have a pink, a dusty blue, and lavender from Acryology, also Dollar Tree. And I mixed the yellow food coloring and the blue and yellow to get green food coloring. And these are the spray bottles that come in this pack. They're 2 per pack. I had 2 packs and I used them, and I still needed 1 for the pink, and this is also from their travel section that I had left over. And I did the lavender and the blue mixed with water. So you get your acrylic paint and you water it down so that it's nice and light but still has color. All right, so we're going to do all this and we're going to spray. I did a test using a brush and brushing on the color, which was a suggestion that I found on YouTube, and I didn't like the streak look, so I wasn't too thrilled about that. Dipping it into a full bath of water is usually what I do, but it takes a long time because now you have to leave them out there forever to dry because they do get soaked, and you lose a lot of paper. You have to be very patient. You can't do it quickly because you lose a lot of paper because they rip because it's soaked. Okay, so we're not going to do that. We're going to spray on them and then let them dry, and we'll see what we get. Okay, so since that is what it's going to take the longest, let's go right into dyeing our paper. Okay, let's talk dyeing paper. You're going to need gloves, you're going to need rags, you're going to need a bucket, or what, you know, one of those storage containers is what I use, big enough to hold your paper basically. So I had originally talked about using the spray and spraying on it. Unfortunately, this was my result. A barely tinted, mostly white paper. So it needs more than the spray to sink into the threads of the paper for it to catch color. Another thing that I discovered when I was playing around with it was if I put in the water and it looks the blue that I want, for example, this one's blue, the blue that I want, what I'm going to get is like almost like sky clouds blue, which is cute. I also discovered that when I put them to dry between paper towels, some of the texture of the paper towel will emboss, I guess, in a way itself on the paper, which makes it looks pretty cool. So I have this very light blue, and then I put a dark blue and mixed it up and made it darker, and I ended up with this beautiful darker blue paper that really picked up on the, look at that, isn't that beautiful? This is the pattern of the paper towel. I feel it looks great. I'm sorry, I have my water bin here. I don't want to drop them in there. But as you can see, we definitely need to go with a darker than what we want to end up with. And then that'll give us the color we want. So I did that with the blue. I also did it with the pink and ended up with very light pink. I should move this. Period. End of story. I'll move this. Ended up with very light pink, but still pretty. And then I put in like a magenta color, also Dollar Tree, to make it a deeper pink. And I ended up with this color pink, which is more what I was looking for. Okay, so I still have some of the pink drying, some of the darker pink drying, but I have a lot to choose from. Okay, so let's talk dyeing paper. So I have my water, and it's, I don't know, maybe an inch of water on the bottom, because I'm not doing a lot. If you're doing a lot, then I recommend that you do more. We're going to go with lavender now. Now, originally, what I was trying was the Acryology lavender color, which I will start with that anyway. And we're just going to put some of that in here. And I don't know, I wish I could tell you, oh, you put, 2 tablespoons to whatever. I don't know. I just make sure that it all mixes in. And I've already, by experience, know that this is not going to give me an extremely dark enough. It's going to be so light that it may be white. So I'm going to put a little bit more and do some light lavender, and then put in the dark purple and do some darker lavender. All right, let's get some papers in here. Okay, right now I can tell you this is not going to work, because as you can see, look at this, nothing is sticking to it. Nothing at all. White paper. So I'm going to throw that out, because I have no patience in trying to put it somewhere and then put it back in. We're going to grab blue. We're going to grab the dark, it says violet. That's the Acryology Violet. Okay, so now we know this lavender is not even sticking to our paper. I just wanted to try it, but I wanted you to see what I meant about that it comes out with barely anything, and you end up with really just slightly, not quite white, but not enough to really matter as far as you putting together a multicolor page junk journal. So We're going to try it. Now, if you really do like those light ones, then absolutely go for it. I like my color to show because I do like the different colors. A lot darker, and I'm hoping you can see it on the camera because it's looking blue in my screen, so hopefully that's not what it looks like. So I put a lot of violet in there. It looks like a much darker lavender. Let's see what our paper says. Better, but we are not there yet. Okay, so remember the food coloring that we got? All right. Well, I have red, blue, and yellow, so I'm going to grab a paper cup or a plastic cup in this case. By the way, this is also from Dollar Tree. And I'm going to grab a little bit of this liquid, just a little bit, right? And I am going to put some red, I'll put some red, okay. And some blue. And it looks like a really, really dark purple that we're going to slowly darken our lavender bin. Much darker lavender. Let's try this again. I'm going to lay it on the paper towel. Okay, so I've left these a couple of hours to dry a little bit. They're not totally dry, but I let it soak as much as possible into the paper towels, and then I take them out from here, and I don't know if it shows up on camera. I really hope it does, because it's got like a pattern to it, and that's from the paper towels. And now they're not soggy, they're not completely soaked, still wet. So these will get spread out all over, from the floor to on top of tables, anywhere I have a space, so they're fully dry. Okay, we have our papers. The lavender came out quite light, but still some of them have the markings from the paper towels, which I think makes it look really cute. That gives it darker and lighter. Very nice. Now, with more time, if I wanted more colors, I would have double dyed some of them and had the light and dark like I have with the others. But I think I got the color that I wanted right off the bat, so I'll take the lavender the way it is. But because I have new paper, and the new paper from the other pastel pack is so straight that it just doesn't look right. So what I'm going to do, now there's two things. If you like them like this, and you want them all like this, just wet these. Spray plain water on them, let them dry, and they'll all be like that. But what I am going to do is to soften these a little by ironing them, okay? And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's ironing them. Take a couple at a time. Get a hot iron. I use my little craft iron. And iron your papers. Okay, so I'm back. All the papers have been ironed, and I did not like, even after ironing, I did not like how straight and clean the new pages were, the ones that I got from Dollar Tree. So I wet them, let them dry, and iron them, and so now they all look very similar. They don't look so different. After that, I just sorted them out in stacks of the colors that I wanted to follow. That's a preference thing. You put them in whatever order you want them to be. I chose, let's see, how many do I have on each page? 10, I think it was. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, yes, 9, 10. I put 10 sheets in each pack. Now, normally I do 20 sheets per pack, but I didn't have enough to have a good set in each one. So I just went for smaller and 4 instead of the usual 3 that I do. Okay. So the next step is to get these ready to be sewn together, okay? So I buy these already done. If you go to Etsy, go to My Porch Prints on Etsy, and they sell you the size in different sizes, the different ones, and you just print them, cut them, use them, print them, cut them, use them. It makes it a lot easier. But you can make this yourself. So this is made for, and I did find a book in my Dollar Tree book stash that is closer to, it's still not the perfect size, but it's closer. These are 2 sheets that I'm going to do the outside of the book with, that we stained, that we dyed. But you take the book. This one's 9.5, I think, or 9. I need a bigger, my big one here. Yeah, this one's 9 1/8. So this will be a lot easier in here, even though it's still big, but as you can see, it's a lot less left over than the other book. Okay? So we're going with this one. So we want to measure our paper is 8.5. Actually, it's a little less than 8.5. How interesting. And so we go to the middle, which is what, 4 1/4, right? Let's see. This is a little bigger than that, but that's close enough. 4 1/4, and you mark your, go to the half, and the exact half of your page. I'm using Dollar Tree page, which is not exactly 8.5. So you just go to the exact middle, right, which is 1 1/4, and mark it. This is, what is this, 1 inch? 1.5 inch rectangle, 1.5 by 8.5 if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So by 8.5, which is the supposed size of the page. Okay. And you cut your rectangle and you mark, whoopsie, there we go. And you mark your middle, right? That's right there. And then you mark 3/4 in from the edge and 3/4 in from the edge, okay? So you have in the middle, right, exactly half of your paper, 3/4 from edge and 3/4 from edge. And there are your 3 points. Okay? There it is. Once you have it, once you've measured your paper, where is my here? You're going to need an awl. These are very easy to find. And at some point I've seen them at Dollar Tree in the craft section where they do all the ones that are hanging on the pegs. So you put your rectangle here, right, with your measures, right in the middle. Now you can use a foam and just kind of hold it in there, right, and push down, and there's your hole. Or you can get fancy if you do a lot like I do and buy one of these where you put it in here. And that one's done, that one's the middle's done, and that one's done. And that's that. You don't have to do this fancy schmancy, even though it's not extremely expensive. This is fabulous. It works just as easy, but you need something underneath. Otherwise, you won't get that hole done through. See how easy it is to push in here, right? And there are your 3 holes. Oops, and this one got moved. That's okay, we'll use the right one. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing with these 3, and then we're going to sew them together. Okay, because we changed the size of the book, now my spine is a lot smaller than I thought, so I will not be able to do 4 signatures. I'm only going to do 3. So we're going to get rid of this one, put it over there. All right, let's talk spine. So I like to use the hidden spine, which I usually get from, again, My Porch Print on Etsy. And they have it all laid out for you. They do not have the 3, so I made my own following their system that I really, really like. So you get the size of your spine, which mine is 1 1/8. And there's my spine, 1 1/8, right? And the same on the 2 flaps on the side is 1 1/8. And there we go, 1 1/8. So the 3 will be the same. The only difference is you're going to have a slant here down on the top, up on the bottom. And you should have about a gap of 3/8 between where a straight, your top straight would go, and the end of your slant. It's really not that hard to do. I made my own, and I just copy it every time I need one. As for your holes, these 3 sets are going to be exactly the same as when you did the holes for your signatures, right? You have 8.5. You have 4 1/4 is your middle. 3/4 from the top. 3/4 from the bottom. Now, how do you do your sets? Okay. You have 1/8. 1/8 from the edge to your first hole. You leave a 1/4 inch. Another hole. You leave a 1/4 inch, another hole, and that should leave you with 1/8 till the edge. And you do that on all 3. Like I said, I made this for myself because they didn't have the 3, but I would recommend just go to my Porch Prints and buy their templates because it's so time saving. It's a lot better. So this is what I'm going to use for my cover. And we're going to start binding as soon as I cut this out. Alrighty, nice and cut out. The holes are cut out. I scored with one of those little ball dot things. I scored all the way down on each side. And yeah, they do sell, if not these, something similar at Dollar Tree. Scored it down, folded it one way, folded it the other way on both sides. I hope the explanation of making your own is something you could understand. I have a hard time explaining stuff like that because I'm spatially challenged. I can do it, but then to explain what I did, I have no idea how to do that. So hopefully those measurements work for you. All right, so let's start sewing. Obviously, each one of these holes is one of your signatures. There we go. So I have, this is, I think they call it baker's twine. I'm not sure, but it's in the craft section. Comes 3 different colors in one pack. And this is a, I don't think, actually, let me not say that. I was going to say it's from the reupholstery pack, but it's not. It's just a general different size needles from Dollar Tree. And they had, like, you know it's the right one when it has the circular one. They have the reupholstery needles as well. So this is one of them. And really the important thing is that it has a wide eye. Now, the one that I usually use did not come in that one. I actually broke it. My favorite one from that pack, I actually broke it because I don't know why, but this is the second size. Come on, open up. There we go. And I'm old, so, and not only am I old, I use glasses already, so I cannot see to do this without one of these thingies. Let's hope that this is, no, it's not. This is not a wide enough one, unfortunately, but the other one, oh, wait, I do have one. I don't know why I thought that one would work. You have to get the one that is really, really wide. And sometimes they have them in their multi-packs. You have to check your local. They were there a while ago. I've had my needles as soon as, because I used to work there, so, and that was one of my sections. So as soon as I saw it coming out of the box, I, of course, grabbed a couple of packs. So, I don't know why I put that away. So you measure. This is the best way to do it. 1, 2, and 3. And you'll have a little bit of leftover, but that way you're sure that when you start sewing this, that this is not going to run out on you. Okay. Alrighty. So here we go to the first one. Now, I usually do it like this. I do it like this. And here's another thing too. I usually glue on here matching paper to what I'm doing, so that if you can see in between, you don't see white. But to make it easier for you to follow, I'm just going to leave it as it is. But I leave my marks on the other side. Also easier for me to see. There we go. Okay. I have one done. And see how it falls nicely there. Now we're going to make these two. So you have your twine. And you're going to measure on your paper. You've got 1, 2, oops, and 3. And you'll have leftover, but it's a good measure. And we have our needle. And I need one of these doohickeys because I can't see to be able to do it. All right. Get your signature. And you just, oh well, first, before I forget and then have a doozy of a time, we're going to clamp it on both ends so that, oh my goodness, here we go, okay, because otherwise we're going to have a doozy of a time getting our needle and thread through. So we're going to go in the middle hole. There's your needle, middle hole of your paper, and you pull through, and leave a tail. That's a good tail. A few inches, 3 inches, maybe 4, 3, probably. Then you're gonna come back here. All right. Gonna go through bottom or top, it doesn't really matter. Go out here. All right, then you're gonna go down, up and through in the middle here. And we're going in the middle hole, not the one on the end. Okay. Then we're going to go all the way up to the top hole on the outside in your needle. Let me make sure this is in the camera. There we go. And we go in through the paper. Pull it out. Nice and tight. And then in through the middle again. Out to the middle. And on the other side. And just pull it out. Right. And then it looks like that. You're going to take your two ends. And you're going to make a knot. So Murphy's my middle name, so I am going to make 3 knots. And when you're pulling it taut, make sure that you don't rip the paper. You don't want it loose, but you don't want it, you know, when you squeeze it tight, you don't want it to be so tight that your paper is ripping. I give myself enough of a tail that it's not going to unravel, because again, if it can happen, it'll happen to me. Okay, so that's number 2. And now we have 2 of them done, right? Hear that? I don't know if you can hear that. That's what it should sound like. Not too tight, not too loose. Got our last one. Nicely bound, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some tacky glue. The bottle that they sell at Dollar Tree is like a gold color, but it's Aleene's tacky glue regardless. If I can get it to come out. And I'm going to put glue on these knots. Did I mention that I'm Murphy's twin sister? So we're going to put this aside to dry a little bit. And let's get our cover ready. So this is a book. And as I said in the intro, I usually make my own covers, but Dollar Tree does not sell anything that's thick enough for what I like to do. They have the foam board, but foam board for me is a little too thick for doing the covers. So this is just as good. I've seen a lot of people do this. So get your craft knife and you just very carefully cut right there on the edge. Cut that paper that keeps it all together, right? And we need to kind of like push this forward so that, I don't know if you can see it in there. Can you see that? Just make sure that it's not glued in there. There you go. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And go on the other side. I'm going to do the same thing. We're going to cut. All the way down. And we should be able to slowly, oops. And we keep cutting. You can see this that was glued here. This is the equivalent of our spine, our cardboard spine. Okay? And I mean, you still have a book. If you're interested in reading this book, here you go. You can still read this book. But we're going to use, I actually happen to have this, one of my favorite authors, and I happen to have this one already. So it doesn't matter to me. I probably will use it to do just words in my junk journals. So we're going to put that aside. So now we have a cover that we need to clean up. We don't want any of that old glue back here. There we go. We have a nice solid cover. Okay. Our cover is ready to be covered. If you like whatever cover you're using and you don't mind any of that, then you can skip this step and go right ahead into gluing everything in. I want to change the cover. So 2 of the tinted or dyed papers that came out with a lot of detail. If you can see all the details of the paper towels. And I want to use that for my cover. So I'm going to take these 2 pages. Let me move this out of the way real quick. And I'm going to put a little over. I'm going to put them one on top of the other, but just a little overlap. Little overlap like that. And that should let me do it this way better. That is what, maybe 1/4 of an inch overlap. I'm going to take one of these double-sided tape. You also find these in like 3 or 4 sizes together, packaged together in the craft section. So I am just going to put my double-sided tape right on the edge here. Alright, this is ready to be put So, I'm going to try to centralize this as much as we can. Make sure that this is flat. Very, very flat. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I am going to mark where my corners are. Okay. Okay. Now this is where I have a little bit of a conflict with Dollar Tree, and that is, you know, we should be using the tacky glue because that's what Dollar Tree sells. But honestly, I have never had good luck in putting this paper, or I mean putting glue on this paper that is water-based. I always end up with wrinkles and rips. It's just a disaster for me. So I really don't like it. I usually use Fabri-Tac, and it doesn't bubble, it doesn't rip or anything, but they don't sell this, so I'm going to leave that aside, and I'm going to use tape, double-sided tape. Now you can also use, they sell this one in the office section. I take it out of here and I put it in my tape dispenser, which you can do that too. For now, we're going to keep using this one. And I'm just going to go Before we start taping, we're going to prep the corners. See where you marked the little corner? I'm going to just leave a little bitty there. And I'm going to cut that corner off, leaving just a little bitty. Leaving just a little bitty. Right there. Tell you, I can't cut straight even with a ruler. And see how nicely that fits inside there? And these will come out here. I just need to mark where exactly I want these. And then we'll finish the cover and glue this in. Not a lot left to do. I think I would say that is pretty much the best way to put it. Okay. Well, that's how you're gonna do this like a regular book. You just put the glue down. In my case, I'm using tape. have tape all the way around where I normally would have glue. So I am going to start by, make sure you spread this out and start folding. Folding up. Now we glue this little guy. So now I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I need to figure out exactly where I'm going to put it. I'm going to mark it so that I know once I put the glue on, I'm going to line it up. So now, so take your glue, whichever one you're using, and put it all over this back here. Once you have your glue all over, which I need a little bit more over here. Okay, it's all nicely covered with glue. We're coming here. And this is the moment that if you have papers in here that have to be facing one direction, one way, that's where you really have to make sure that you have it. That's why I always write, you know, on the covers which is front and which is back, so I know. Okay, pushing it down. This is what I mean that I usually cover it with a contrasting color, not a contrasting, a matching color, so you don't see the white, but I wanted you to see clearly what's going on. There we go. Make sure everything is nice and flat. All right, I'm going to put this up. Now we're going to clamp this and get it to stand up like that. We're going to let that dry, and then we'll come in to finish the inside. So I'll be right back. Okay, we are ready. It is dry. It's in here, nice and firm in there. Okay, so now we're going to finish the inside. So the first thing we need is inside paper. Now I took some of the leftover paper and I chose a lighter color than the blue. And basically we're going to cut it to fit in here and cover all of this, right? All our seams, all of that is going to get covered. I cut too much on this one, and so now my corners didn't quite meet up. Actually, what I did was I did not fold this down enough. Shame on me. If you do it carefully, I was doing a little bit too quickly and I didn't fold it enough, and so now I have a seam there. But I'm going to cover all that with the paper, okay? So it'll be right up there and right up to here on the edge here, because this is going to come over, right? So this is going to be like this, okay? So we're going to measure that. I've got my paper marked. So we're going to start by gluing this. The best thing to use is one of these, it's for the vinyl, and it's there in the same section where all the other craft stuff is. I use this thing all the time for glue, spreading glue, making sure everything is nice and even. And the idea to mark it down, you don't start gluing from here to here, you start from here to there, is because, remember, this has to open and close according to your cover. So you have to make it so it aligns, it has to align with the cover. Just, you know, be patient until it falls where it needs to fall. You got to do it while it's wet so that it has some give to it. And here we go. All right, so there's that one. And again, we're going to glue from the inside out, okay? Okay. I already did the back. I tried it with glue when I ended up with a whole bunch of wrinkles. So I have now put down tape all the way around and in the necks in the middle. So we're going to start over here. Right? This way. Yeah, this way. I want to see the pencil marks, so I'm just going to make sure that it's right at the edge so that I don't see it. And what I did do, I did pull up this and pulled it back in. I got a little bit of rips, but it doesn't really matter because this is going to cover it. But I was able to fix that fold. And I'm just going to slowly glue it down. Or push it down, I guess, because it's not glue, it's taped. Okay. And there is the inside of our book. I wish I would have done that in the back. It would have looked a lot better. See all these wrinkles? This was glue. I'm sticking to tape or my Fabri-Tac when I do my regular ones. Okay? But this is a Dollar Tree one. I wish I would have done tape on that though. But the front came out nice, and that's how we want it to look, right? Okay. Now, for the outside. Now the outside, you can do anything, or you can do nothing. It's entirely up to you. But Dollar Tree has, I don't know if they're still doing it, but they have these small packs. I bought a whole bunch, that's why you see a whole bag full of these strips, and now they have them in a whole bunch of different kinds of patterns and stuff for quilting. See, this one I think would look really nice if you want like a tone-on-tone. See? You can do something like that. Dollar Tree has ribbons, all kinds, all tones. This is burlap. Where's the blue? There's this kind that has a bluish, even though it looks green next to this blue. Maybe I didn't grab the right one. Yeah, it looks a little too green. That one's purple. Red, if you want a lot of contrast. You have satin ribbon. You have lace ribbon. And burlap trim. You can do pretty much anything you want. I'm going to use some of this, and some of this. Because it'll cover the tear and give us a nice. Okay, so we're going to do that. And then I think I'm going to do let's see if I can get this open here. Right, because this is going to be here. This will be here. I'm going to get this here. Wish I had this in white. Unfortunately, Dollar Tree does not. I have some in white, but it's not Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree doesn't have them in white. It only has in this color. But I still think that looks pretty cool. Alright, so let me get gluing. There's that. Now, over here, you could do anything. You can put a frame, you can put ornaments, you can put corner guards. I'm not doing any of that because Dollar Tree doesn't sell that, but that's what I would have done. I would have continued over here, maybe put a nameplate of sorts, a frame to put a picture, something to decorate these edges and be able to personalize it with whatever you want. They don't have that, so but they have so many stickers that you can personalize this however you want. You can make it as busy or as simple as this. Same thing with the back. You can leave it like that, or you can put the same trimming back here. It's entirely up to you what you want to do. So there it is. There's your Dollar Tree junk journal using only Dollar Tree and a little bit of elbow grease for you to make it work, and embellish it even more so that it doesn't look plain. And I bought this at the dollar store. Okay, so sky's the limit. Your imagination's the limit. This proves that Dollar Tree definitely has 90% of anything you would need to make your own junk journals. So the only one that takes a lot of work, of course, is the paper, to make it a little bit more variety of colors, and to make it, you know, I wanted to make it shabby chic because that was the challenge. So I had to do a little work on them and get the colors I needed. But you don't have to. You can pretty much do whatever you want. You can put it all plain white paper if that's what you want. You can embellish more. You can embellish less. It's entirely up to you. You can put ribbon in here so you can't see the binding. You can, which I do sometimes, before I put this in, I glue down here behind this, I glue a ribbon. And then when it's all glued down, I can bring the ribbon down and maybe tie some cutesy little charms, and that'll be your bookmark. The sky is the limit. You can do anything you want, really. But for a nice, basic, but cute junk journal, you can get everything you need at Dollar Tree. Okay? So that is it for me. I hope you enjoyed this. Please consider subscribing and joining our family. Say like, not like, subscribe. I won't bug you with a lot of notifications because I don't post, you know, twice a week or every week, you know. It's whenever a new craft comes up or a new idea comes up and I want to share. So please consider subscribing. In the meantime, you have a good one. Be safe, be happy, and I will see you next time on AJ's Creations by Johanna. Bye.